What's up, everybody? Kyle with a another episode of Unlocking Your Inner Strength. Sitting outside on the front bluestone patio that I built last year, the Leo Memorial patio that I built in honor of my grandfather, who was an old Italian stonemason. We had a great weekend. We kind of had a chill day on Saturday. Sports were canceled, so it was nice to just kind of catch our breath. Did a few things outside. We got some more chickens. Got 3 more chickens for the kids, which I think is a very good investment. The kids love them. They each pop out an egg a day, so good stuff. Very good stuff. Went for a nice hike yesterday up through the Sourlands with the whole gang, all the kids and the dogs and Susie. And I was talking with Susie yesterday about, I've been in my mind, right? Everything starts as a thought first. We all go through this creative process within the brain, within the spirit, thoughts, words, action. And I had been thinking for a while, I'm like, man, there's more that I want to explore with fasting. And I've pretty much, now it's coming on 3 years with the Panda diet that I personally have been doing. I did a 10-day cleanse in the fall, 10 days without food, just some lemon juice and cayenne pepper and a little bit of maple syrup for 10 days. So I've been exploring. And to be honest, the black version that I personally do every week, 48-hour fast, 1 meal a day, it's great. That'll probably be my lifestyle for the rest of my life. But that doesn't mean there can't be pockets where I explore deeper and whatnot. So I decided that right now I need to explore further. I need to push the fasting a little bit more. And it's really just for me, right, to access what I feel is more of my spirit and to learn about my mind more again. Now, the first time I did this, April of 19, I pretty much went from April, the whole first summer, I did 72s each week. So I'm doing a 72-hour fast to start this week off. Don't know if I'm going to do that every week. It's a different mindset I have at this point. Maybe I'll do 72s every week from here through the rest of the summer. Probably going to do some dry fasting. I've got some cool experiments I'm even going to test out where maybe I do a 4 or 5 day fast, semi-fast, meaning maybe I'll just have some beers on a couple of nights and report on those findings. To me, it's all about exploring. It's an exploratory phase. And with Indigo Panda, something I've been talking about, actually the new hats are coming out soon, so keep an eye out for them. With Indigo Panda, there's a lot I want to do with that. And a big part of that is really pushing the body when it's in a deeper fasted state. Not resting and holding back like most people would say, oh, you can't do any activity when you're doing that. Pushing it harder when you're in the deeper fasted state. I was doing a lot of research on that, but to me the best research is you have to dive in and you have to explore and do it yourself. There's nothing else that can compare to that. That is what I've really built my whole career on, is exploring and experimenting on myself with some of the wacky ideas that I have. Saying, oh man, I actually do feel better. That feels great. Let me teach it to somebody else. Maybe one of my brothers will try it. Then I get more feedback with that. So at this current point, I'm diving back into the fasting a bit more. Like I said, this week's going to be a 72. Going to see what happens. Plan on getting a workout every day. I plan on really pushing the body. I'm going to do some deep breathing exercises, most likely tomorrow night, so on the back end of a 48. Really, again, a lot of it to me is exploring the brain and spiritual components at this point. And then you see what happens with the body, right? Because most people enter the doorway to the spiritual realm and the mental realm through the physical. They don't realize when they're stepping through that threshold, when they're going through it, that this is, even could just be exercise. That might be a life transforming thing for them, because then they start believing more in themselves. They start feeling better. Then they link up with somebody, maybe myself or another coach says something to them that puts them onto, oh, I want to start studying that. So you never know where it's going to end. And I know personally in my life, every time I've wanted to let me think of it like this. Every time I've put my body in and put it to the extreme test, like the next level test, that is when the rest of my life benefits. So most people would think that it's, man, you're not going to have energy for other stuff. You're going to be so focused on this. I can tell you that when the seed for Newell Strength to begin was planted when I was getting ready for my shows in 2007, reading some Tony Robbins books and whatnot. So Newell Strength probably would not exist if it wasn't for that period of time in my life when I really got into self-development and what I wanted to do with my life. And at that time I was teaching, which I loved. I mean, I still love teaching. But that was really the seed of it. So every time in my life when I've put myself in a position where I need to rely on something other than willpower, right? Like when I would get ready for those shows back in the day, even at that point, I mean, I would push myself so unbelievably hard in the gym, with my diet, with not sleeping, because I thought that's what, I thought the more I was awake, the more I was going to burn, right? So I'd be sleeping like 4 hours a night, eating 1,600 calories a day for like 4 months in a row. And I did this for years, guys. But every time I've put myself in a position where I need to say, okay, I'm going to explore more, right? That's a big part of mind mapping. You get to the end of the yellow brick road, so for me, let's say that's the black version of the Panda. Now it starts back over. Now I'm going to have new threats I got to face. Now I got to explore more. And you go through all 12 steps of mind map again. And mind map is infused in the Panda. It always will be. It is 72, to be honest with you. I haven't done one since the fall, but just thinking about it yesterday, it gave me like that nervous excitement energy. Again, I've fasted a lot, guys, probably more than most people I won't say in the world, because there's other parts of the world where this is very common. But I know what I do is not normal. The fact that I do this every single week. But now it was like, okay, let's do a 72 this week. It gives me a little bit of nervous excitement to get after it. And what are you gonna do tomorrow night? What are you gonna do tonight? As far as the mental state, really, and that's part of the exploration process. For me, the main reason is spiritual. Like I'm saying, I believe the Bible says it multiple times that when you pray and when you fast, not if you fast or if you pray, it's when, it's expected upon us. And you're going to have revelations, I believe, in your life. Just like our thoughts transmit, right? Our thoughts are an energy, and they transmit a certain frequency, an attraction pattern, and they're magnetic to everything around you. Everything is connected, right? Everything in this planet, in this galaxy, is connected through vibrational patterns and energy. Just as if, though, when you're thinking and transmitting and transmuting, there's also ideas and inspirations that are constantly trying to come into your brain. But if it's always cluttered, if you can't shut your brain off, or if you're constantly eating, because food is a drug, right? It's like a distraction a lot of times. It's a stimulant. If you're constantly not having to access that part of your brain, you're going to miss a lot of these things that could come to you and that are trying to get in there and plant that seed. Like I said, Newell Strength, the seed was planted when I was in that phase, getting ready for the 2 shows in 2007, which the cool thing is, if you go back and watch the last podcast, or one that's coming out on iTunes, I think next week, with Tim Martin, who's a buddy of mine who I competed against in 2007, he further inspired me, right, to see what the human body was capable of. And the guy's amazing. But that was that show when I would stay up late and I was just constantly reading, listening to audio tapes. And at that point in my life, guys, I had told my dad when I graduated college, 2003, from Delaware, that I would never read another book again. I was done with books because I was reading stuff that I didn't really find interesting, to be honest with you. And how that has changed since that period of time when I was pushing my body, and one breadcrumb led to another. Then I wound up picking up Tony Robbins' book from another bodybuilder, Skip LaCour, who was really big into self-development, and I would always study this guy Skip, what he was doing, because success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. reading Tony Robbins. And then, like I said, the Newell Strength inspiration came from that. And the reason I started reading Tony Robbins, to be honest with you guys, I was so doing that show, and I've talked about this maybe on other shows, doing that particular contest year, 2007. I was really struggling with TMS, but at the time we thought it was Crohn's disease. I was in a very depressed state for a long time. I'm talking years, like 2.5 years. Pretty much given up on everything. I'd stopped going to the gym. Didn't really have any social life. I was really, really depressed. And finally I said one day, I got to compete again, because I hadn't competed in 2 years either because of this issue. And it was through pushing my body and focusing on the show and really getting, figuring out what the body can do. Because again, the body is the temple, but it's the doorway to the brain and the spirit. It was through that. It was through that struggle, the medical issue that I had at the time that made me very depressed, that I decided to compete again. And through the competition, the medical issue went away. Right? I took a huge step in the evolution of who I was as a person by doing that particular contest that year. The circumstances aligned. So I do believe that, just like when I did Mount Washington, you're going to have revelations when you put yourself out there, and you got to use your mind, body, and spirit, and you can't hold back, right? And you have to keep going. And you got to find a way. So that's a little bit about why I'm choosing to explore fasting further right now. Next week, we'll see. I'll do another 72. I might do some dry fasting. I haven't done that in a couple of years. I might do a 48-hour dry fast. We're going to see, but I'm going to explore, because as I create this inspiration, the Indigo Panda, and I have my notes jotted down, a big part of it too, because I didn't teach the panda, the black panda, man, it was almost a year. A year before I started teaching that and putting it into a course with people. And there's just so many courses that I want to share with you guys and teach you guys. And I will get to them all eventually as I get more help with other areas that I'm working on. So I got to explore, and then I'll be back with the finished product. But that's where I'm going to be going. I'll be sharing some of my experiences as I go along. You guys, thanks for, as always, for tuning in. If you're watching this before next Monday, we have the Fat Shredder coming up at Newell Strength. Annual fat loss contest, members, non-members, there's teams of 3. I'm going to be teaching some cool fat loss stuff within that. You're going to get some cool stuff you can't get elsewhere, only by doing the Fat Shredder that I have prepared for you guys, as far as stuff that I've put together for you. All right, hit the like button, share it, subscribe on iTunes if you can, leave a review on iTunes. That helps me a lot. You guys are the best that watch this stuff. Appreciate you. Later.